Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another discussion topic, another podcast, and today we'll talk about the future of Electro. And of course, I'm joined by Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello, everyone in the land of seven webheads' imagination.
And Forrest.
Tired of me yet?
Not yet.
What was that? Were you like Batman? Forest.
Yeah, Forrest.
I'm seven webheads.
Actually, I tried to ask Jamie Foxx a question about Electro, and I asked him what will happen if Electro will ever join the Sinister Six, and he didn't actually answer my question, but the way he looked to Mark Webb, if you pay attention, I feel like the guy knows something already. Maybe they shared their plans for the Sinister Six already with Jamie Foxx.
I'd expect them to, considering most actors these days, comic movie roles do sign a multi-picture deal. So,
And maybe he does know something, and I'm pretty sure at this point we all realize that Electro, it wasn't the last we've seen of Electro in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, right?
no, I'm not actually 100% sure if maybe Sony has plans for him, but at the end of the movie, we see him pretty much overload and explode, and then it's just his chip laying in the ground. I mean, sure, Jamie Foxx said over and over again, electricity doesn't die, but I feel like they went with that angle so that they could bring Electro back if they wanted to, but they're not sure if they can get Jamie Foxx back, maybe due to scheduling conflicts, or he wants more money, or something of the sort.
So you believe there might be a replacement?
Either a replacement, or he just might not come back. Period, because Electro does need a pretty high budget. I mean, look at the budget they spent for him alone just in this movie, and Sinister Six, adding it to that would be.
Yeah, especially
crazy.
considering that they made actually add Lizard. Lizard might be back. Why not? And Lizard required some heavy CGI there, and that budget is of course limited. So it's either Lizard or Electro. Forrest, do you believe that we'll see Electro once again?
Unless if we get a Dennis Leary type role, which I doubt, but I'm really not sure. Sure, you can't kill electricity, so it would be cool for him to come back. I think more along the lines they're just going to hint that he's going to come back in the third film and not really use him. Like it shows like a lamppost kind of glow, kind of bluish,
Maybe.
kind of like how it was in the new animated series. But
Well, yeah, they could do that sort of thing where he came out through the TV and stuff like that. And don't think they do the backwards message shit though with.
Can somebody remind me how Spidey managed to beat Electro in the MTV animated series 2003?
He put him in a battery and threw the battery in the water.
an explosion.
So he exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny enough, because reason I mention it, because the Electro in the animated series Max Dillon is pretty much this type of lonely loser type of guy nobody cares about. Definitely, it served as an inspiration for Jamie Foxx Electro, in my opinion. And they bring the electric eels from the Spectacular Spider-Man. At this point, I think the source material for Webb's franchise is more about the cartoons, really, not really comic books.
Yeah.
Or fan
And
service.
Sony's own made cartoons is the ironic thing about it.
Yeah, and
We're taking inspirations from our own creations. Screw you, comic books.
yeah, because Electro is nothing like this 616 Max Dillon.
No.
The way he looks is obviously inspired by the Ultimate Electro, but still the character himself is written more of a cartoon, actually, which is a little
Or
bit
even
ridiculous.
the new animated series Electro. I mean, if you take out the big puffy hair, that one's pretty much the Electro from the movie as well.
Yeah, and I asked Jamie Foxx how he personally will see Electro interacting with other villains of the team. The reason I asked him that, it would be really funny considering that Electro was this type of loser type of guy, nobody really cared about, people made fun of him. Imagine he will join Sinister Six and somebody there like Doc Ock will make fun of him and he will go on the ramp, he will go nuts, like he will, it would be really interesting.
Or in his head.
Yeah, just bullying him, that would be really fun to see.
The one thing with Electro and the Sinister Six is just the way his character was in that movie, where it took it took a lot for even Harry for Electro to work with him. I'm not sure if Sinister Six would be. I'm not sure if he'd fit in the Sinister Six, or if they're going to even put him in at all, because his personality would clash a lot with a team sort of thing.
Well, yeah, that's the reason I asked you this question. Actually, it would be really. He feels like godlike by the end of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. He feels like nobody else can beat him. He's way too powerful, and now he joins a team where there are other equally superpowered villains. There might be a conflict there.
So I'm not really sure how he'll respond to it, but everyone's going to just be reacting different. It's going to be basically the Avengers. I guess I could say for that is, let's say Jamie Foxx is the Captain America in the group, and he's kind of the lost one. kind of the one who's
Maybe.
usually to himself.
It's
kinda.
great it's great you mentioned there will be some ambition. With the Avengers, the reason they teamed up it was of course Loki and his army. Now the reason the Sinister Six will tie up, there has to be something all of them want, one common goal.
Well,
It's probably defeating Spider-Man, which would be way too obvious, right?
of course. I mean,
But in
unless of course they're saying it's a redemption film. Maybe it starts off as like them trying to get Spider-Man, but then Oscorp is in charge of it all. So maybe they backstab the Sinister Six, and then they go back against them. And the whole redemption thing really just ruins the idea of a Sinister Six movie for me. I don't know how the hell they're gonna do it.
Well, Doc Ock formed the Sinister Six sort of as a redemption originally, of course. Spidey beat him 3 times in a row, and he came up with this genius plan to bring all the bad guys previously defeated by Spider-Man, actually. So it was pretty much a redemption.
But he wasn't able to get Green Goblin or Doctor Doom to
Well,
join him.
these are more of a complex characters, no sidekicks, so obviously, yeah. The Ultimate Six, of course, that's another thing. Norman
Which
Osborn,
they
yeah.
could easily take influence from that.
Really?
They're probably going to.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Chris Cooper is alive, actually. There's just a head, but still.
Well, not
technically, 'cause
it's not in the movie.
Director's cut.
Well, like, if Electro is going to be a part of the Sinister Six, you think they would have hinted at it in the after-credits scene instead of actually having 6 villains there.
Might be not a teaser for an Amazing Spider-Man 3, but actually for the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Which leaves
That's-
Electro completely out of place. No Electro?
The Sinister Seven.
Sinister
Well, then
7,
again, people are saying there's a lightning bolt right before the X-Men Days of Future Past thing. Maybe that's a hint.
No, well, Sinister 7 actually it happened once. It was Mysterio who formed the team. He was at some point he formed
There was
the
a
team.
Sinister 12 at one
Yes,
time, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sinister 20.
Kinda, yeah.
Sinister dash every Spider-Man villain ever. Just like all of them come in like Walrus, Spot.
I'm just imagining the Sinister Six, the plot of it, teaming up just to defeat Spidey. So simple. It's not fitting the film really. It's not such.
80-minute film.
Well, Avengers is a pretty simple film, if you can argue that. So.
But it had more of a goal, and it was leading to something more than just stopping something. It was more of the character interactions and so on. That's
That
why I
might be
said
what they're doing with Sinister Six. Maybe the movie could be. Maybe they could do Sinister Six and Amazing Spider-Man 3, but then maybe the Sinister Six movie will be the exact same. Will be Amazing Spider-Man 3, but from their perspective.
yeah, because like Amazing Spider-Man 3 is based off Peter's recovery, where he wears Gwen Stacy's bra just so he can feel better about himself. But it's true, like that's what may be focusing on, and it was show at the very end. Sinister Six, ram.
The Avengers was more of a step into the phase 2. Basically, it was sort of like a movie which will eventually lead to the another phase. Maybe the Sinister Six is same type of film, you know. Basically, they will
Maybe.
team up, and then the team will fall down, and all of the villains have their own story again, and they can explore them again and again until Avi Arad gets fired.
And then he makes Bratz the movie too.
As long as we're in charge, no other Spider-Man except for Peter Parker will ever get the mantle.
Yeah, sorry, Miles Morales fans and Miguel O'Hara fans, and
It's kind of idiotic to not do a spin-off of other Spider-Men.
considering that they want some cash now, especially right now, and Sony is kind of in trouble, especially that the Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't really do that well at the box office. Is it
Did
like
well enough. It's broken. I think it's broken even at the moment.
Ben? How much is it right now? It's high 700, right? 700,000,
Okay, so far internationally, it's made $637 million.
which is close to the first film's actually box office.
First
Pretty
one
much,
got
yeah.
like 750 million.
I'm
I
pretty
think.
sure their goal was more of about $1 billion. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Isn't everyone's nowadays?
Yeah.
Well, I guess like the big difference was Avengers when it came out. There was really no kind of competition with it. You know, when that came out, and sure, for Spider-Man, Neighbors wasn't considered competition, but it still beat it. But then there's Godzilla, and now X-Men is out this week. I'd consider that pretty big competition, even for Spider-Man.
And Man of Steel is so far doing better than this in box office.
Oh God, that
Now,
Yeah.
talking about Sony following the Avengers road, there's one problem there. In the Avengers, all the characters we've seen them, they were pretty much established in the future in the previous films, right? Cap had his own film, Tony had his own film, whatever the Hulk had his own film. With the Sinister Six, we're gonna see Doc Ock, Vulture, somebody else there just at once. Not enough character development there.
And that's why I
well,
prefer
they
Harry
could
and
all be in Amazing Spider-Man 3. You just don't know.
Well, Electro in this case, what that's the reason why they should bring back Electro, because Electro is pretty much already established. It might save them some time for the character development.
yeah, that's why I preferred Harry so much in the Raimi films because we had 3 movies to devote to his character. Even though the whole second movie was "I hate you, Spider-Man," no, we still knew what his ambitions were. We knew who Harry was.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let's say Electro joins the team. He's already established the character. We know everything about him. The Lizard joins the team. All right, we know everything about Connor so far. And then there's Rhino. We don't know. We don't need to know his backstory. There's no backstory for Rhino. There's no backstory. He's just a goofy character there. Doesn't
Yep.
really need an interaction. So it's 3 villains now.
With a wonderful Russian accent.
Yeah. Alright, so we got 3 villains now pretty much established already. 3 more left. Of course, Doc Ock requires at least some background story. That's
Well,
the
I
problem.
doubt that they're gonna go for putting him as the main villain in a movie or even giving him a backstory because people already saw Doc Ock in the Raimi films. So,
Well, he was obviously will be an Oscorp employee, no doubts about
well,
it.
duh.
Yeah, that's like... And then, of course, Doc Ock and Vulture and somebody else there. Maybe it's Norman Osborn, Chris Cooper.
The one thing I've noticed when it comes to these movies, like I noticed it with the last one to this one, is that Sony will, they'll do their thing with the movie, but then if anyone says if there's any kind of fan backlash on anything, they'll change it. Like, Spider-Man's suit with the first movie, people were like, the suit's stupid, so then they changed it. The Lizard, people didn't like his design, and now they're saying if Lizard comes back, he'll have a different design. So
Yeah.
maybe Electro won't come back because fans were bitching and complaining about Max Dillon.
Yeah, that's one of their biggest problems. I'm pretty sure, there was supposed to be a different ending, especially Gwen's death scene. As far as I know, there was an early screening and a rough cut of the film and Gwen, and I'm pretty sure the reactions weren't that positive, And Evie actually mentioned that he's been reading forums, Spider-Man forums, and I think this was the reason Spider-Man 3 was ruined. Actually, everybody wanted Venom, and he said, "Well, you want Venom? Here's your Venom." They shouldn't really listen to.
Here's your Venom.
As much as
Ruined.
much as they want them to respect fans, better respect source material.
At least they're doing better than David S. Goyer right now.
Oh God, yeah. Well, going back just to the whole thing with with Sony, I guess I don't mind them making it listening to fans or whatever, but I'd rather when they first announced Spider-Man's new suit for Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, it was a good suit, but I was really pissed off because I'm just like, I'd have more respect for Sony if they stuck to their guns, or at the very least, with the costume change, explain in the movie where the costume change came from. If Lizard comes back, explain why he has a different design. Don't just be like, "Oh, it was always like this. It was always different," because those other mistakes that we made, they didn't happen.
Ben, if he will get replacement, Will Smith or Jaden, maybe at that time.
Yeah, Jaden,
Oh, no, no, no.
obviously.
Yeah, I have made my son.
No, seriously, who do you see there, if not Jamie Foxx?
Well, pull the Marvel route, get Don Cheadle to do it.
I mean, I love Jamie Foxx in it,
Yeah.
but I can't think of anyone else at the moment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be Jamie Foxx, especially considering his next paycheck, which should be twice as big as for
Oh,
this
yeah.
film. Because,
And Annie, that was promoted in Spider-Man.
yep.
Yeah, that was so weird. Seeing the trailer, it's the only reason it's promoted is because Jamie Foxx is in it.
Now, remember the Spider-Man 2 trailer? We see an Annie sighing right behind Jamie. I'm like, I see it.
Well, it actually gets me thinking. Just sometimes I'll make jokes about movies are in the same universe. Annie takes place in the same world as Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was just before Max Dillon went crazy and started working for Oscorp.
You heard our thoughts on Electro, the Sinister Six, how it might actually tie up eventually, and I'm curious about your thoughts, guys. Tell me in the comment section down below, do you believe that we'll see Electro again? Do you believe that he will be replaced by Will Smith? And do you believe that... and do
He
you...
gets replaced by Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for watching. Ben, thanks for joining.
No problem.
No problem.
Alright, see you guys later, and I'm out for now.